Okay. Well, welcome everybody to this special board meeting, which was called at the request of board members John Houck and Mark Schwab. There are two items on the agenda. One is to review the amenity and golf course projects and scenarios to determine a directional consensus of the board to put out a vote to the members. The second item is to review the governing documents and provisions to clarify the borrowing and spending authority of the board and the directional ability of the board in support of Foxfire's amenity and golf enhancements. The first item on the agenda is the recognize the members' right to speak to these agenda items. And we will begin with Frank Amadeo. Would you please unmute? Mr. Amadeo?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
You're welcome to speak for 3 minutes. Go ahead, Mr. Amadeo.
I'm here. I don't have any questions at this time.
Okay. Well, then we'll move on to Greg Boyle. Mr. Boyle?
Oh, give me a second. He's not on the call.
He's not on the call. Richard Calnan?
He is on the call. Hold on.
Calnan?
He's there. He needs to unmute.
Rick, can you mute your unmute your device? Sure. Mr. Callahan?
Hello?
We'll move on to Elizabeth Cole.
That's it. You there?
Pardon?
She got it. Joe Collins is here.
Mr. Collins, Joe Collins.
He has to unmute.
Can you hear me?
You
Yep.
can, Joe. Go ahead.
You can. Okay. So I'd like to speak about the consistency of the recent voting, the golf course conditions, and several real compromises. Regarding the votes, in 2018 ad hoc message was separate the golf course from the amenity vote. The 2019 2B vote was declined by the members, and the 2020 survey of the 579 votes, only 48.5 of those weighed in support of the combined golf course and amenity package. That's 281 out of 931, which is only 30% of the members approved this plan. It would be the height of arrogance to disregard for the third time in 3 years the members' wishes and try to get them to approve a big package of amenities and golf course combined. I hope you've had distributed golf course a listing of leaks, $3,200 just this year, $12,000 over the most recent 3 years. These do not include annual fixes to the elements of irrigation, including broken pipes, equipment rentals, pump house work estimated to be upwards of $10,000 to $20,000 or more per year. It does not include cost of blocked heads, leaking heads, nor the equipment rental for breaks like those that occurred on 4 Red T and 9 Red this past year. Current favorable bids on the golf course are $2.1 million for the course, with potential to increase by $750,000 if we do not lock in vendors. The top vendor alone is $500,000 more than the 2 preferred vendors, so the board must approve and authorize us to commit some mobilization money, estimated to be $10,000 to $25,000, to lock these vendors in so work can occur in 2021 and avoid the $500,000 increase for the same project. There are 60,000 rounds of golf per year by well over 600 members, 300 play bocce, 100 play tennis. We will find 466 members to support this course. Regarding the course, there are several options that reflect real compromise. We recommend either, number 1, the board approve by their bylaw mandated obligation to keep the course in good working order, which it is not, and vote based on bylaw 4.1.e to fix the existing course with $1.2 million out of capital funds, $1,000 member assessment, and that gives a savings of $3.5 million still for the amenities. A second option would be regrassing and irrigation, 2 bocce courts, fitness and cart barn, and socialization area for $5 million, paid completely by the capital funds available now over the next 10 years. for zero assessment. The prevailing posture that some of the capital funds must be used for amenities is false. In 7.3, the capital improvement fund clause, it says it may be used for the purpose of paying for recreational facilities and improvements. If the board does not approve a real compromise, not just another revote of a $9 to $10 million plan, then there are already members talking about recalling board members. Let me close by saying nobody wants to see continuing and growing divisiveness. You were elected to fulfill the members' wishes on their votes and surveys to return this course in good condition. Do not disregard your responsibilities. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Collins. Kathy Connors,
Can you hear me?
Yes.
we can.
All right, thank you. I have to say that I'm a little taken off guard after hearing Mr. Collins speak, because I thought that there was collaboration and cooperation among the committee members. I want to thank the members of the Strategic Planning Committee and the Green Committee and the Finance Committee for their hard work, collaboration, and cooperation. However, that does not sound the case right now. I feel that this plan that they have brought forward is an affordable package of amenities and golf improvements to our community, for our community. I ask that each member of the board show your leadership and vision by endorsing this plan. The committees have worked hard, and I feel that the board needs to support their hard work. Your leadership as board members is imperative to reach the majority of 466 member votes. Not everyone will be enthusiastic about each element of the plan, but we can all endorse the concept for the entire package for the future of Foxfire. These improvements will offer many positive experiences for our members. And lastly, I ask that each member of Foxfire to find something about this plan that they can enthusiastically endorse. Picture yourself enjoying the amenities outlined and designed to enhance our personal experience. It is through these experiences that we develop social bonds that truly lead to rewarding relationships. And together we can make this happen. Divided, we will get nowhere and we will go backward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Connors. Ken Fallon, Mr. Fallon,
He's not on the call.
not on the call.
Gibbons
Mr.
is
Gibbons, Doug Gibbons,
Not on the call.
Chris Jackstead,
Give me a second. I just have to go with him. He's on the call. He should be on mute.
I'm here. Good afternoon. My name is Chris Jackstad, and I'm speaking this afternoon on behalf of the steering committee of the Friends of Foxfire. Times, needs, and wants have changed since Foxfire was established in the mid-1980s. While our golf course is an important amenity, it is not the only amenity desired by the members here at Foxfire. Present members and those who may be interested in purchasing a home or condo in Foxfire are looking for broad-based amenities to enhance their quality of life. The vast majority of similar competitive bundled golf communities in Southwest Florida have more and better amenities than Foxfire. In fact, in East Naples, 7 out of the 8 other Sierra communities have already invested significantly in amenity improvements. Based on the recent survey conducted by the board, it is evident that approximately 1/2 of those who responded favored the something for everyone package. Otherwise, why would they have favored voting jointly for the amenities in golf? While it appears that a majority of those members who support the something for everyone package also support golf course improvements, unfortunately, the converse is not true. Should this board favor a vote on golf without other amenities? No. Such a vote is doomed to failure, as it will not receive the support of those who demand amenities as well. It will not garner the 466 affirmative votes necessary to pass. We have heard the term significant compromise or meaningful compromise suggested to temper the animosity and divisiveness evident in our community. Meaningful compromise is not repairing the golf course, and adding no amenities in 2020, 2021, or even a few minor amenities with a vague promise to consider further amenities sometime in the future. What will stop future boards or members from doing away with the amenities altogether? That is capitulation. While one of the main tenets of the Friends of Foxfire is to support our board, we cannot and will not support such action. Those of us who have been here long enough remember the division when the third 9 holes were added. Some said that this would be the end of Foxfire. They were wrong. The same holds true today. The same negativity seen then, we see today. The board must ignore this negativity and move toward the future. The Friends of Foxfire Steering Committee has recently submitted a letter to the board for its consideration. We hope all board members will review and consider the information presented, along with my remarks this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jackstead. Jerry Morgan.
He's here. He's here.
Nothing at this time.
Okay, thank you. Barry Murphy.
I gotta get him. Give me a second.
That was okay. Capitulation, I still couldn't get the
Mr.
Chris is still
Jackstead,
on.
could you,
Do you have me? Can you hear me now?
Hear you, Barry, but I'm getting feedback.
Yeah,
Try it now. How about now?
Barry's
Yes,
on.
to shut one off.
Barry's on.
Is that okay?
Yes.
You got it?
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
Mm,
Thanks for giving me some time. I'm obviously going to not take a lot of time. I just want to talk about 3 things very slowly. One, first of all, just to express my frustration and confusion a little bit over why we're even having this meeting. In September, a master plan was presented to the membership that had input and participation from the board, the GM, the communication committee, the finance committee, the green committee, and the SBC. So this plan represented the best ideas from all these groups for the improvement of Foxfire. It represented many people, many man hours, and not a small amount of money. And I think it was generally well received. Everyone seems to love the renderings. I really believe this proposal deserves a vote as it stands, and y'all may be a little bit surprised at the result. Second thing deals with the word compromise, which a gentleman talked about a little bit earlier. It's a very pleasant word. I mean, who doesn't like compromise? Compromise is a great thing to get involved in, but this isn't compromise. Compromise, I looked it up. It's an agreement or settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions. We're not making concessions here. I mean, this is more of a confiscation plan because only one side's given up anything. But that it's okay if that's what it is, but let's not call it something it's not. This is not a compromise by any stretch. Third, the paragraph Roger. One thing Roger mentioned at one of the meetings, which I really had profound impact on me. I think it came from Greece. It says you can tell an advanced society when old men plant trees whose shade they will personally never enjoy. It's a very impactful statement. I think it's very relevant to Foxfire today. I hear there are problems with $50 a month. In general, I disagree. Many of the people who use that reasoning really have no problem spending money on things they want. They go to dinner, they travel, they go on cruises, etc. I just think it's more of having a me-centered attitude rather than a we-centered attitude. If I don't directly benefit from something, I'm going to vote no. People approach me all the time considering talking about the program, and they go, I like this part of the program, not that part. You need to take that part out. And my response is always the same. So what part of something for everyone don't you understand? And why should you be the one to determine which of your neighbors should be cut out of the program? If this proposal does come to a vote, and I hope it does, please ask yourself, is it really the $50? Or because of selfish reasons, do you just not want to plant the trees? That's all I have. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Al Perkins.
Unmute. Okay, am I on?
You're on, Mr. Perkins. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. My wife Lisa Judd and I have been owners in Foxfire for 6 years. I'm speaking today in support of the Greens and Strategic Planning Committees. They've presented a comprehensive plan which provides several elements designed to meet the wishes of a variety of members. We've been struggling to get acceptance on some pieces of the plan without accepting the whole plan. I would encourage bocce players to support golf course improvements. Golfers who would like to enjoy a drink on an enlarged outdoor setting to support a fitness center that can accommodate more than a few people at a time. If you never plan to go to a yoga class, should you deny some of your neighbors that opportunity? We as a community must recognize that we have different ideas on how we want to enjoy our time here. As I look around Foxfire, there are a lot of us who can't wait 5 or 10 years to see these improvements. The total plan is $600 a year. If we cut out half of the elements, we could save, let's say, $300. $300 for a whole year. That's the first day back at Costco for us. Is that what this is all about? It's the money? I refuse to believe that our members are so self-centered, stubborn, or cash-strapped that they will let this opportunity continue to languish. You, the board, appointed the committees to do in-depth research and provide plans for the future of Foxfire. Consequently, they have more knowledge on these elements than any other individuals or groups here at Foxfire. Any paring down of the plan to save money, space, or feelings is an insult to our neighbors and the committees, a slap in the face to those members who you may deem to have less important ways to enjoy themselves. You as our board have the opportunity to lead by encouraging all interests to come together for a successful vote on the entire package. The board was elected to serve all the community. I hope you'll recognize that obligation and move forward with the plan that serves all of our varied interests. At our meeting next year, I hope we will all be congratulating you on bringing a new attitude of accomplishments and harmony to Foxfire. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Ken Pipenbrink.
He's on.
Mr. Pipenbrink, can you unmute your device? Ken? Okay.
Wells is not on.
Okay. Vicky Junker?
She's on.
Ms. Junker, could you please unmute your device?
I'm trying.
You succeeded.
Succeeded.
Mr. Pipenbrink, we realize that you're unmuted as well. Can you just hold till Ms. Junker is done? Vicky, go ahead.
Really, I don't have anything more to add from what everybody said. Everyone has made very good comments, and I concur with all of those. Thank you.
Thank you. Ken, go ahead.
Nothing to say at this time.
Okay. I think that's all the members who've requested the right to speak. So we can get on to agenda item number 1.
John wanted to speak too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. We have John Dion in the room with us here. Go ahead, John.
Thank you. I just stopped by today because I understand on the table is probably going to be a motion to get rid of the tennis courts the way I plan to have them expanded, and to bring the bocce courts down to 2 courts. And I just want to say that will not work. Last year we had 325 members playing bocce, members and guests, and we had to have turned some people away. We even had to have bye weeks. In other words, on a given day, twice during the season, they couldn't play. Well, that caused a lot of confusion. if we were to try to do it with 2 days, with just 2 courts in the future, we're gonna have less than 325 because the bye week allowed us to play more people, but it's too much confusion to have that going forward. I cannot see 2 courts handling more than 225 people. So I just say, as the committee chairman for Bocce, we really would like to have three courts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. To all the board members, those who are here in person as well as those online, I believe you have in front of you on paper or by email the proposed master plan dated 10/13/20 as a starting point for this discussion. The elements of it basically are to do irrigation and regrassing and enhancements to the Red 9 Green in 2021, to resurface the tennis courts, bring them up to industry standards, and to install permanent bocce courts in 2021, to start the process of permitting a 2-story building with fitness center and cart barn presumably to come online in 2022, pending permitting. And again, halfway house, casual dining, outdoor social areas, grill room expansion and enhanced golf coming online 2022 or thereafter, once again, depending on permitting, and financing to occur by a combination of a special assessment of $2,470 or $25 a month for 10 years, member option with no penalty for starting $25 a month, but then ultimately prepaying. And added to that, a $20 increase in the capital contribution to the Capital Improvement Fund effective in October of 2021. So that the total increased cost to the members would total $45 a month. Using that as a starting point, John and Mark, you requested this special meeting. Why don't you take it from here?
Sure, I'll go ahead. Yeah, I felt that this meeting was necessary just based on the fact of the members who have wanted to speak. And I felt it was important enough that we really devote some time to this whole issue rather than being part of the regular board meeting. Now, we have all had our various individual meetings, small meetings from last week. And I'll use that word compromise because we were talking about that a lot in terms of how we could look at, the various things that you give some, you take some, you add some, whatever. And so it's really a matter of trying to really get down to the bottom and get to the really the nitty gritty of how we can develop a plan. And I'm going to kind of jump off on the deep end here because I'm looking at a situation really about 10 months ago when we started talking the irrigation and regrassing in terms of the other amenities. And actually, they are two separate things altogether. Because your irrigation and regrassing is really a maintenance issue, whereas your amenities are more of an issue of obviously new projects, new items, new things that you can bring on board to the community. So I was been toying around with this thing all weekend, and I would like to see the board essentially go by the various provisions within the governing documents, which allows the board to borrow monies for proper corporate purposes. And in conjunction with that, you have bylaw 4.1E, which Joe has referred to, which allows the board to borrow. So I would look at just separating out a maintenance issue from an amenity issue of really looking at the golf course, the irrigation and regrassing, to look at a loan for that for the $2.2 million as a separate item. And then at the same time on Friday, for the board to pass a resolution requesting or having the strategic planning committee redevelop some prioritized timelines and costs. Because actually I'm taking from the message that the Friends of Foxfire put out, and what they say, and I agree, is more cost analysis must be done if we are to phase in different parts of the master plan. This data on specific costs for each component of the plan must be presented to our members. To date, this information has not been made available. And that's one of the things where actually to date, members do not know what's involved. So I think that really communication and exposure of this information to the members is a requirement. Then the Friends go on to say a comprehensive education and communication plan needs to be developed and implemented prior to moving to a vote. And this cannot be done in just a few weeks. And so that depends on what your SBC or your communications committee or whatever they come up with for a plan. But again, I'm really kind of agreeing with what the Friends say. So again, I mean, in a nutshell, I look at it that the amenities are really a plus for this community. And we just have to do it the right way. And on the other hand, I look at the regrassing and irrigation as a maintenance issue that has to be done. And it can be done without a member vote by invoking the various provisions in the governing documents and 4.1E. And FEMA.
How would you propose repaying that loan?
The same way it's proposed now, which is $390 from your capital improvement fund that each member pays each year.
You know the spending limit that the board has, right?
Oh, that doesn't apply to these here.
It doesn't apply?
No, it says the master, well, I'll quote it. Master Declaration 7.5. Master Association responsible for maintenance, repair, replacement, control of club common areas shall keep same in good, safe, attractive, and sanitary condition and good working order at all times. 4.1E gives the borrowing authority for Master Association purposes. And it just allows the borrowing for a proper corporate purpose. So it doesn't give a limitation like 7.10 does.
I think our spending limit still applies, but we can discuss that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can get into that, but I think the Master Declaration trumps any bylaw, so.
Mark, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Well, as I said at our little meeting, I'm still highly concerned about this whole COVID incident. You know, this pandemic thing is going to rear its ugly head again, and it's going to set everybody back again, and it's going to set the stock market back again. And the golf course is definitely in dire need of repair. There's no doubt about that. The amenities, yeah, there's some amenities that I can really go through, and I know we need bocce ball. People want it. It's a cheap fix, basically. But at this stage of the game, I would say we just go with what is a dire necessity as opposed to what's fluff. You know, the amenities right now are all fluff until we see some end to this pandemic. I am extremely concerned about this. And Doctor, I'm sure you should be also. You get similar information that I do. So that's just where I stand. I'm afraid of that. I really am. I saw what the last situation did back in March, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. Now we go in full force, and just have one giant mess. And I would rather just hold tight with the amenities and revisit the amenities in general and just put out there for the regressing and taking care of the immediate necessity. And then come springtime, I really don't have a problem going through and revisiting the amenity problems. There are needs for, for this community that the amenities offer and, can take care of. So that's where I stand. Thank you.
Well, from my perspective, I think the recent survey and various votes we've had over the last year clearly show the community is split almost down the middle in terms of where they stand on the golf course and amenity enhancements and how to finance them. My concern is that were we to put out irrigation and regrassing as a standalone project, that it would not achieve the 466 votes necessary to move ahead. I think the same holds true for the amenity enhancements. Put out on their own, they would not get the 466 votes. So that drives me to look at trying to combine these things and do it in a fashion that's affordable to members, that spends the money as these things come online rather than gathering a lot of money at the front end and then slowly implementing these things. And to me, that's the beauty of this proposed plan that you have in front of you at the moment. It takes care of the irrigation and regrassing immediately, and the funding is in place for that. It gets the most desired elements of the other amenity enhancements in place, namely the tennis and bocce and the fitness center. And the other components come online as we accumulate the funds and as the permitting allows. If you recall back last fall, when the golf course plan 2B was proposed, it was $4.01 million with an assessment of $45 per member. This plan, and that didn't include any amenities. This plan calls for a $2,470 assessment and an increase in contributions to the capital improvement fund. One of the things we've heard is that members were concerned that if they incurred debt, that they would have to negotiate with a buyer if they were to sell their property. Allocating the cost here to the capital improvement funds automatically transfers it to a new owner. So there's no negotiating involved in that. If we are going to do this, this allows us to do this systematically, to spread it out over time, and to pay for it only as these things come online. And if there are certain things that we can't do, if we're precluded from altering the grill room or putting up the halfway house, those are costs that would drop out of the plan, and the funding for those would be removed, and the $20 a month contribution to the capital improvement funds would be altered. Anyone else have any comments?
I do. I see, my question is, it says permanent bocce courts. How many courts?
3. Well, 3 is what's in the plan at the moment.
Okay, all right. I didn't see it there. And I see that the practice area is not in there. That is a compromise, has been removed.
Well, that's in the last phase, the enhanced golf. That's something that we would postpone until probably 2022 or later.
Okay.
But
all right. I don't see that, but if you say so, okay. Thank you.
Well, we take care of the irrigation and regrassing immediately. And since we'll be working in the vicinity of the Red 9 green to do the tennis courts enhancements and the bocce courts, it just makes perfect sense to wrap up all that construction and staging in one sitting.
So everybody gives up something. Golf court, the Green Committee gives up something, and the SPC gives up something under this scenario.
Well, it's not so much a matter of giving up, it's just trying to find a way to get this done in an orderly fashion that's acceptable to members.
No, I hear you. Okay.
Is the resurfacing of the tennis courts to bring them to industry standards, is that just resurfacing the courts, or is it the dividers and all the stuff that have been planned?
It's the expansion of the dividers.
So it's building out onto the golf course 24 feet.
That's correct. Yep. It makes no sense to me to rebuild the tennis courts, which need to be done. The fencing is deteriorated, the surface needs to be replaced. And why would you bring it up to an outdated standard? Tennis courts that are being built now have these shelters and fence dividers. And if we're going to invest the money, why not bring it up to current standards? Same with the fitness center. Why not bring it up to the size and with the equipment and space that's required by a membership of our size?
I'm not sure that I agree with the tennis part of it. I think that tennis players that play tennis look for a premier surface to play on. That is their priority.
Well,
adding between the courts is not necessarily a priority to being able to play tennis. So I'm not convinced that we need to bump out 24 feet for the tennis courts. I do think the resurfacing and the fixing the water piping and all of that so that the tennis players have a premier court surface to play on is what's most important to most high-level tennis players.
Well, the tennis players at Foxfire, certainly to a person, support putting in the shelters and the fencing, et cetera, which requires expanding the court footprint by 24 feet. And, yes, the golf course is a maintenance issue, but, the tennis courts exist. They're a maintenance issue. We have 2 temporary bocce courts. Getting them up to speed is a maintenance issue. The wellness center is a maintenance issue. We have all these amenities. It's just that they're inadequate. They're worn out. They're tired. They don't meet the needs of our current members and are a detriment to Foxfire and its appeal to new members.
I think one of the key things that's going to be important for us to understand is what is the impact to that Red 9 green for golfers that see this as an encroachment on the golf course.
Well, we've been assured by Steve Forrest that the Red 9 green can be repositioned so as not to affect the playability. In fact, he feels it will enhance the appeal of that hole, and that there are no safety issues involved. in terms of the interaction between the golf course and the bocce facility, that through proper landscaping and mounding, et cetera, that there should be no negative impact on the golf course. And let's remember that the common areas include tennis and the clubhouse and fitness and bocce, and as well as the golf course. That the golf course is just one of the common areas, and it's really not fair to say these are encroaching on the golf course. We're just trying to find a combination of the opportunities for recreation and socializing for our members without damaging any of these components. Those who just are adamant that this is going to ruin the Red 9 golf course, I certainly are entitled to their opinion, but it's not supported. The golf course architects and professionals.
I think it might be helpful for members to see where this bump out goes, particularly on the green. I don't know if you put a flag or something out where we can see where this is gonna, how far this is gonna bump out with 3 bocce courts and 24 feet to the tennis court. If the members can see that it's not truly gonna impact the green, it'll help people get on board.
Have we not put out drawings?
Well, we have, but
The drawings don't help a visual for where it's gonna hit the green.
We can certainly do that. And in terms of, educating and informing members, we can only go so far without a plan in place to present to members. We're prepared to undertake the education of the members. The Communications Committee is committed to that. I think I am, and I believe all the members of the board are committed to fully informing the members and to presenting in the best detail available to us the costs and how we got to those costs. But until and unless we can agree on how to move forward here, we're sort of dead in the water, and we need to come up with a plan that satisfies the needs of the majority of our members and that's capable of generating 466 affirmative votes. And I believe with all my heart that the only way to do that is to combine the golf and amenity enhancements into one plan, one financing package, agree to it, and start to get it done. We have been talking about this since at least 2013, and I think we're all exhausted from the effort. We just can't keep beating this up. And in terms of the board just preemptively borrowing money, if we learned anything from the vote on the governing documents, it's that the members wanted to have control of major spending items. And for us to borrow money and then turn around to the members and say, you've got to pay this, without a vote, I think is unfair to the members and doesn't recognize their preferences in terms of control of spending.
Hey, Bill, if I can qualify something. Let's take the scenario if, as you say, if we put out the golf course along with the amenity package to a vote. And that does not make the 466. That's one question. The other question is if we just put out the golf course irrigation regrassing by itself, that potentially would not pass. So we have two potential scenarios that would not pass. Yes. By using the board as the vehicle through a loan to at least take care of the irrigation and regrassing, and that would be without members' additional assessment dollars. I think that might be more of a common ground that I really feel that people could understand.
Well, I think members deserve the right to make a final decision on this. And, you know, if we put out a vote for a combined package and it gets defeated, you know, the fallback position is to put out a vote then for the irrigation and regrassing. And if that gets defeated, you know, I think the members have spoken.
But
yes,
then the board
you know,
has
we
to
can-
do something. The board has to stand
Yes,
up and take a position.
At that point, I think the board could take preemptive action. But I don't think it's appropriate for the board to circumvent the members at this point. The members have to weigh in on this by voting on a specific package. Not, you know, maybe this, maybe that. We need to put in front of the members a plan like this one and say, here it is, here's the funding. Tell us what you think.
Dr. Cornetta, I'd like to make a comment about governance and board members by our position are responsible to make certain there's solid governance within this community. That certainly would apply to any publicly traded company as well. I look at our standing committees, and I think our standing committees have done a marvelous job of bringing things together. They've worked long and hard over the course of the past couple of years. That includes the Strategic Planning Committee, the Greens Committee, the Finance Committee, the Communications Committee has worked very diligently to make certain that we stay current on things. I see them as a legislative branch, if you will. They're in charge of going out and discovering and uncovering ideas, tell us where we can go, think about things that are in place and what they believe we need. This board and previous boards have listened to those standing committees. They brought them back to us, and it's appreciated. I look at this board of 7 people. We get involved in everything. We're the judiciary in some cases. We're the executive branch in some cases. We're the legislative branch in some cases as we're fine-tuning some things. It's the membership itself, the 931 people who are owners in this community, that's the executive branch. They have that right and opportunity to place a vote. They deserve a vote. And we as the board have a strong responsibility to act like the judiciary right now and formulate a proposal for the membership to decide. It is the membership's responsibility to take this vote and say yay or nay. They own the place. Now I know every one of we board members own a place or two within Foxfire as well, but it's the membership that has to take that vote. So I agree with you from a governance standpoint that we need to get prepared to take a vote to membership. And I would say beyond the governance side that we need to do it this month, put it together so we can put it in the hands of membership to vote on in the month of November. We've had very clear communication from the Greens Committee, and Donald believes in most of the things that they've been saying. We have to make certain that we're lining up vendors to conduct a project in 2021 for our golf course. We need that to begin. But we also have to be thinking long-term for other projects that need to be updated. Because we've got a community in terms of many of our amenities, they're tired. They're not consistent with what the demand is within the marketplace. We have a workout center, and I refer to it as a 1985 Hampton Inn workout center that I used to work out in about 7 or 8 times a year down in Bentonville, Arkansas, as I went to see our friends at Walmart, who were an important client. That's what that Hampton Inn was. It had 3 treadmills and it had a minor weight machine. That's what we have. That's not what people are seeking. We've got to update those types of amenities. I'm not a tennis player any longer. I believe, along with Sherry, that the surface is very, very important. But I wouldn't want to build a tennis court today that looks like that one. I'd say get to the standards that are expected from people. And I think that you need the added space within those tennis courts. Bocce is a critical feature, I think. I was out in Sun Valley about a month ago, and it's starting to get chilly out there. Great little club that I was at. They had 20 people going out to play bocce in 60-degree weather, and they were excited about it. And I asked some individuals at that particular club, when are these people playing? And they say they play until it snows. It's the 3rd or 4th largest recreational sport that's popped up around the country. Some people have said it's a fad and it's going to go away. But that's not what we're seeing with other communities within Southwest Florida at this particular point in time. I think that we've got great ideas from this SPC. I think we have important ideas that the Greens Committee has pointed out to us. I think that we do work towards a compromise of irrigation and regrassing and make darn certain that it happens in the spring and the summer of next year. And I think we lay in a plan where people can see that we're making progress on the amenities by committing to an overall master plan that has been laid out by the community.
Is the financial projected financing that's in this spreadsheet here where it says the special assessment for spring of 2021, is that to fund the irrigation and regrassing? Is that what that funding is? And then the $20 per month is to fund the loan and paying for all the rest? I mean, basically we're still at a $9,450,000 is what's like bottom line. But we're going to fund it as we go. So we're going to collect $20 a month. Is any of the money that's being set aside going to be set aside for future golf course renovation? Because we've gotten into this quagmire of the capital improvements fund doesn't support any kind of golf course repair or replace that we need to do. So is that comprehended in this financial statement here that we've been given?
Well, historically, member preference has been not to reserve for the golf course, but to do it by special assessment. And the way it's laid out here, we've complied with that. The special assessment comes to a total that virtually matches the cost of the irrigation and regrassing.
So the spring 2021 is for the golf course.
But yeah, the 2021 is for irrigation and regrassing, and the assessment, would presumably start the payment for that. I mean, it's all members' money. It's not as though we're stealing from one pocket to put it in another. Whether we call it an assessment or a capital contribution, it's the members' money.
Well, I think the capital improvement money that we've taken in, I don't know that all members have known that the money that's been taken in over these couple of years that we've been building to, that none of it could be used for the golf course. And I don't think that they knew that. I would argue.
May I say something? Okay. First of all, I want to thank the Strategic Planning Committee for giving us, and the Finance Committee, for giving us such a well thought out plan. This community, as many people have said today, is falling way behind its peer group in terms of features of the community that attract new buyers. We are probably one of the last ones to address this issue, and our values of the real estate and of this community are undoubtedly suffering because of that. We have to get going and do something. We have, as a board, a duty to all members of this community, not just the golfers, not just the tennis players, not just the bocce people, but everyone. And not everyone plays golf in this community. Lots of people engage in other activities, and we have a duty to them. A little over a year ago, before I got on the board, the Green Committee endorsed, and this board endorsed, the plan, so-called 2 plan. Renovate the golf course, including irrigation and regrassing, and the practice area, and a few other projects that went with it. It almost passed. It did not, but it came close. And I think the common wisdom is that the reason it didn't pass then is because amenities weren't included. There were a lot of people in the community who felt that the time had come to look beyond just the golf to the other people in this community who have other needs and desires and wishes. And that, if it had passed, and it was close, would have cost the members $45 a month just for golf course, irrigation, regrassing, practice area, and what other projects came with it. $45 a month just for that. We now have in front of us, for the same $45 per month, a plan that includes not only everything in that earlier plan that didn't pass, but need I point out, it includes a new cart barn, which we need. It includes a large and beautiful fitness center. It includes 3 permanent bocce courts. It includes regulation and upgraded tennis courts to current standards. It includes a modern and enlarged halfway house that will service golfers, tennis players, and bocce. It includes much additional kitchen space that will be freed up. It includes a beautiful and a spacious grill room. It includes outdoor patios, dining, and conversation areas. It includes changes to landscaping and outdoor walls, privacy walls, and things that will enhance the beauty of Foxfire for the same amount of money per month per member as almost passed the last time. We should be patting ourselves on the back for being so smart as to wait a year that we can now, because of the ingenuity of the Strategic Planning Committee and the Finance Committee, low interest rates, and contractors who are looking for work, we can now provide a set of amenities and bring this community up to the standards that it has to be. And it doesn't cost the members anything more per month. It is $45 per month. I don't care how you slice it or how you look where the money is coming from, which committee, which financing arm is paying for it. That's what it costs. And the longer we wait on this, the more it will cost, the more the members of this community are going to be upset. It is time now to put this amazingly effective and efficient and intelligent plan to the voters and let them approve it, as I am confident they will. You've heard from people associated with the Friends of Foxfire how important amenities are to them, the upgrading the amenities just as we upgrade the golf course. Here we can do it. We can do it for everyone. We can do it at the same price that almost passed a year ago. This is something, in my opinion, that no rational person could oppose. This is, it is mind-bogglingly a no-brainer. Let's not waste any more time debating the little nits and gnats about where this is going to be and how what money is being used to pay for that. The money is being well spent. We have the authority to spend it. It is that we have a duty to everybody in this community to do this. If we don't, and we let the values of this community deteriorate further, then shame on this board. Let's get it done. There's something for everybody. I'm voting in favor of it. In fact, I would propose that when we start implementing this, that we not necessarily delay the implementation except for permitting requirements. If it takes a year to get a permit for something, obviously we have to delay. But the sooner we get going on this, the sooner it's going to be done, and the sooner we can avoid construction cost increases, the sooner we will eliminate delay and inconvenience to the members around here. As soon as the financing is available and as soon as the permits are issued, we should continue with every project on this spreadsheet. Thank you.
I think we're all aware of the fact that we have been in the last couple of years a community divided. If you look to national organizations like Club Benchmarking or the National Club Association, all of their surveys indicate that the #1 driver of appeal in a community is the friendliness and the ambiance in the community. We had that. We have temporarily lost it, but I think moving forward with a plan like this will restore that spirit of friendliness. It's still there, and when people have personal issues and problems, the community rallies around them. But in terms of our approach to master association business, if you will, we have a lot of bad feeling. If we can settle on a plan like this, move forward, I think we eliminate that stress on the community and not only restore the friendliness and neighborliness of the community, but enhance the quality of our lives here and our opportunities for recreation and social activity. So
I'd echo that, Bill. And every one of us on the board, and I say this more for the folks that are listening, because we talked. We're frustrated that there's such vitriol going on within the community. Board members have been approached, and one said that they were attacked by people right in the dining room. There's no call for that, but that happened, and it shouldn't. We will all have different varying opinions on a wide variety of things, most especially the neighborhood and home that we all share. We've got to be able to pull this community together. That's an important aspect of our leadership that a couple of the speakers said today. And let's give them a plan so they can take a vote on a particular decision.
So I guess, between now and Friday, I would ask each board member to take a hard look at this plan and come to a decision as to whether or not you can support it, so that at our Friday board meeting, we can take a vote to to adopt it. If there is discussion of modification, so be it, but we have to settle, I believe, this, at this Friday board meeting on a master plan for Foxfire for the long run, and then put it in a format that members can vote on come November, so we can move beyond this.
I'd like to say that I think we have all worked very hard on this. We made a real effort to come up with a compromise. Nobody got everything they wanted, but everybody's getting something. Everybody had to give a little to get a little, and I urge my fellow board members, and I urge all the members at large who are listening in on this to please, there may be some tweaks in this, but I think it's the basis is a very good plan. And I hope that the members will get behind this and be one of the 466 that approves this. Be part of the solution. Let's stop being part of the problem. Let's be part of the solution. Be one of the 466, and let's get this done.
Any further discussion of the first agenda item? Okay, moving on to the second, the spending borrowing authority as outlined in our governing documents.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I've already alluded to that in terms of the specific provisions. So it's there. It's there in the articles, it's there in the bylaws, and it's there in the master declaration, allowing the board to borrow for proper purposes, you know, especially for common areas. So, I mean, I have roughly, I don't know, 6 or 7 different provisions. So it's there in our documents if we ever want to use it.
Well, it is there, I agree, but there's also the demand that it be required, even emergency. There are a number of qualifications.
Actually, that's not true. The master declaration doesn't talk about an emergency. The articles don't talk about an emergency. The only thing that talks about an emergency is actually bylaw 7.10, which talks about board spending. But yeah, I didn't see any emergency pop up. All it says is proper association purposes or proper association business. It doesn't talk about an emergency.
I refer back again to the vote on the governing documents where members were quite adamant they wanted control over big spends. We did not want to cede authority to the board, and that's exactly what we would be assuming were we to go in that direction.
And we can agree to disagree.
I agree, John. I agree. We disagree.
Bill, one kind of final thought around the financing, the loan and all of this. I do have concerns given what happened with the maintenance building, that we took in money from our members and we sat on money for a good 3 to 3.5 years that we had collected from the members because we couldn't clear county hurdles. And I have big concerns about doing that again. I don't want to see us get put in a position where we find out that we can't, for some reason, the county doesn't bless this fitness center and we've taken in money from the members. How are we going to refund that money back to the members with interest? I think we could potentially be putting ourselves into a bit of a pickle. And we were in a tricky situation with that maintenance building. I just want to remind people that we had that problem and we sat on money and the members were not happy about it for the 3.5 years that elapsed until we got to where we could clear it and get it built.
Well, of course, the bulk of the assessment for those who would pay the $24.70 right up front, that would all go to funding the irrigation and regrassing primarily. So that money is spent immediately. The other funds would accumulate slowly over time, and given what we already have on hand, plus the flow of funds going forward, we would be able to afford these various elements as the permitting allowed them to come online. So I don't think we would get ahead of the game here. You're going to be paying in over a 10-year time, and hopefully most of these things would be accomplished in the first 5 years.
I just wanted to raise that
Yeah,
as
no,
a
no, it's a
concern,
good
and I
point.
think it's a valid thing to keep in mind.
I think it's a valid point to keep in mind too, but by the funding of this program, we can go to a bank and in effect, we're establishing a line of credit, but we're not going to tap into that line until it's needed or whatever it might be. And along some current information from one of our lead banks that we're interested in working with. And there's money available right now for 3.15%. Now we have to budget this appropriately at 4%, just so we can make certain that we're on top of it. But there's an opportunity if we're light on our feet and proactive to capitalize on some lower funds that could come into play for us. Mark talks about uncertainty of a pandemic. There's uncertainty certainly as to where the markets will go in terms of lending, where banks will be lending money, and we know what it is right now, and that's a great opportunity for our folks. If a member chooses to spend $25 a month, and they're in a position where they're paying just $25 a month for a full year, we're talking about $300 out of their pocket. There's not great exposure. They've got the use of time value, use of money. Presumably, based on past experiences, a majority of our members have paid the lump sum for assessments. If that happens again, and bringing that lump sum cost down to $24.70 on the front end, hopefully we have more members who are saying, I'm going to pay the full amount right on the front end for the master plan that we're aiming for.
And another issue is that although we'll be drawing funds from the capital improvement funds, we will not be stripping the cupboard bare, that there still will be funds contributed annually for unexpected expenses, et cetera. So we will have some wiggle room year to year in terms of capital improvement fund. Are there any other issues related to the agenda?
You have a hand raised.
You have one.
Okay,
Just give me a heads up.
all right. Well, again, I would ask each board member to take a hard look at this document that you have in your hands so that Friday we can really have a solid wrap up and come to a conclusion on this whole thing and get a vote in front of the members. Kathy, who's on the line?
Kathy Connors.
Kathy?
Kathy Connors.
Kathy Connors?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're speaking again under the member's right to speak.
Yes. I have one more question because I'm a little confused. Is the plan that you have before you a different plan from the Something for Everyone plan?
No, it's just sort of reworking the timing of things, so that it's kind of in keeping with our 10-year rolling strategic plan. We sort of spread things out in what we what we feel is a reasonable timeframe to get these things done, and have the funds to support them.
What Kathy may be concerned about is that the Something for Everyone plan included an assessment. This plan that we're looking at now does not necessarily include an assessment.
Yes, it does.
That's
Yes,
an
it
option.
does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
No, there's
This is-
$2,470.
Yeah, or, all right.
Okay, what's in front of the board members right now is just a different financial model. The master plan and amenity plan is the same. It's just a different way of paying for it.
Right, I misspoke. I apologize.
Okay, so
During
what
our
I
board
really like,
discussion, individual board discussions and the smaller groups, some wise thoughts were passed on. Bring this initial number down, and that's what
Right.
this offers.
Right.
That's
So,
what this
so
offers.
Kathy, when I met with Bill and Roger, and I think others have, part of what I said to them was, we've got many members here that are over 80 years old, and they may be here from 3 to 5 years max. And for them swallowing a $5,000 assessment when they may not be here for much longer is something that's hard for them to get to support financially, just from their perspective. And there's some that 80-year-olds that have lots of money and others that don't. So this is where we have to, we have to look at the demographic of the age in our community and the people that are here and who can, and come up with a plan that works for everybody. And
okay, so my real question or concern is that I would want to, as a member, vote on the entire package, even though it's going to be a phased-in plan. I don't want to approve something that we only do phase one. I want to approve the entire package, including financing.
Yeah.
That's sort of the intent of this, is that we intend to finance it as defined with the special assessment and the contributions to the capital improvement fund. And the projects will come online, irrigation and regrassing and tennis and bocce next summer, and everything else as permitting allows and as the funding becomes available through the capital improvement funds.
there's site development work and other things
Yeah.
that have to be done associated to the fitness center and to the grill build out. All of this has to be planned for. We're not far enough down that path to be able to say we can deliver it next year.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that, and I just hope that for the sake of the community, that every board member can endorse this plan, because it will make a big difference in how the community perceives what happens next. So I beg you to just get on board and present it as a unified package.
This was as close as we felt we could come to satisfying the concerns that were expressed by the individual board members in the last week.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else wish to speak? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I move to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.